Hi there, my name is Denny, and welcome to the Speak Dicely podcast, the show where I get together with other tabletop enthusiasts and we speak Dicely together. As we continue exploring the classes of D&D, we're jumping to the class that was most recently added to the roster. Suited very well to steampunk settings, this class mixes magic and science to create items that they use to solve problems, perform heroic deeds, and carry more gold than can normally fit in their backpack. I'm talking about Artificers, and joining me for this conversation is Socoler. Hey there.
What's up? Glad to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you back. I was uncertain who was going to end up joining me for this discussion, because I think out of my friend group, I'm the only one that I know has actually tried out this class, so I was glad that you hopped onto this.
Yeah, I don't know why people avoid it, because to me, I just see tons of flavor and lots of cool opportunities within the class itself, which really appeals to me.
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a well, I mean, it's not a core D&D class. Like, this wasn't one of the ones that got introduced with the player's handbook, so it's not of the original 12. It only got added in the Eberron setting guide, I believe it was, and then officially released in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything.
Yeah, it's gone through a lot. I know that they had a lot of stuff going on Earth Arcana, and then most of the actual subclasses I don't think ever actually were on Earth Arcana. They just came out with Tasha's.
Yeah. I think another thing that players tend to avoid this class is because if they're playing in a setting that's less reliant on like technology or science, it kind of is like, okay, well, how do we make this work? And that might be something a DM's like, we're just not going to worry about that. Don't choose that one.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to work with your DM on that, as well as maybe you're just the forerunner of modern technology at that point. Kind of like how Percy and Vox Machina was like the first one to make firearms a thing. And now they're an actual thing in their world and whatnot.
Yeah, and I've done a similar thing in mine. Like, we didn't have Artificer as a class choice because it hadn't been released. And after the first campaign came out, the books came out, and I was like, all right, that opens the window. We had these events happen, so we can have Artificers in the next campaign. But nobody chose an Artificer. But it was available.
About that. But you guys have Gunslinger, so I mean, you know.
Yes. Yeah, so it explained Artificer and Gunslinger, so it all worked out. So why did you want to be involved with the Artificer conversation?
Well, okay, so I'm part of the campaign on Dungeon Select, and our campaign 2 is coming up here, and Artificer really stuck with me because I've been looking at a lot of the Tasha stuff and whatever, and then campaign was coming to a close. I'd say probably about 6 months ago, I started really looking into, okay, what do I want to play? And as soon as I read the Artificer, like, is it like the prologue, I guess they always call it, where it's like the history of like Artificer and like kind of where they fit in D&D.
Right.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I can do so much with this. Like, you can turn your spells into just mechanical things, and potentially, if you like pick and choose your spells right, you could even have an Artificer that doesn't believe magic's really a thing, or that science is just 10 times better. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to have magic involved in the conversation of Artificer if you really don't want to, which I thought was an awesome idea. And I don't know if I'm actually going to lean too hard in that, but you have all kinds of flavor with your spells. You don't have to rely on just describing components or saying, oh yeah, I just kind of shoot it out of my wand or whatever. So that was just like mind blowing to me.
Yeah, I do love that flavor. And that is a great point too. Just like removing magic from the equation. I mean, they technically use it, but if they don't believe in it, that is a very interesting story to possibly explore. What a great idea.
Yeah. And like, I always thought like, what if there was just a whole like city that's kind of like, or maybe like an island out there or something that just doesn't know magic or gods really exist. They've never had like beings from another planet come, but they've just slowly evolved into, a sea of electricity and stuff and all kinds of things to where magic's never really been a conversation. And then you're the odd one out for actually believing in magic.
It kind of reminds me of, have you seen the Disenchanted show on Netflix?
Which one's that one? I've been watching a lot lately.
It's by the same folks that did Futurama and The Simpsons.
I don't think I have.
Okay,
that's my list though.
So it's that same animation style, and it's kind of a fantasy setting, but it's like a fantasy dystopia kind of thing because it's Simpsons humor. So, but in the second season, there's another city that is just like a steampunk setting, and they're like, oh my gosh, what is this doing here? And they're just like, everything is steam. Magic is
awesome.
phooey.
I'm gonna have to check that out then.
It's probably not the serious flavor of character you're looking for, but it does have some parallels.
It might have some cool ideas though.
Yeah,
That's the other
for
thing is
sure.
like there's so much to pull from, especially like just modern society in general. I mean, you have just vast like knowledge available to you of what you really want to do with your character.
Yeah. So we've essentially covered what an artificer is at this point. The magical inventors, they're specialized in using magic items and creating them themselves. Is there really anything more do you think, to add to that?
I think kind of covered it for the most part.
All right. Well, let's talk about some possible pop culture characters that could be artificers. Did you come up with any ideas?
I mean, well, Iron Man's always at the top of that. I mean, I think he's the first one people think of. I mean, the armorer class is basically modeled after Iron Man, in my mind, at least. I mean, minus the flying. It kind of sucks you don't get that, but you know.
Well, multi-class into sorcerer and level up enough to be able to cast
ASMR,
fly.
You know.
Flavor
the wings to be rocket boots. I don't know.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have some stories in a bit here. Not quite about that, but an ASMR artificer was one I'd played.
Oh boy.
Yeah, some of the other ones I threw in here was Jacqueline Hyde. We brought this up as a possibility for Barbarian because of that kind of transformation, but in Artificers, one of the subclasses is Alchemist, and this is like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I never would have actually thought of that. I saw that on the list, and I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Another one I always thought of was Ian Fleming, the guy that makes the inventions for James Bond.
Oh,
that was, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, there we go. The little inventor guy.
What's his code name? Is that Q?
I think so.
I might be thinking of somebody.
It's been forever. I don't know. I can't remember the last time I watched James Bond.
Another one that kind of blew my mind until I stumbled across this was Tails from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. I was like, oh my gosh, he kind of is.
Yeah, which is so weird because you'd never like draw a parallel between an Artificer and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Yep, I had to do some real digging to find some examples for this.
Yeah, most people just don't really like to talk about it. Like I feel like it's kind of harder to fit like Artificers into fantasy in general. Like there's always those guys, but they're always like a support character for the most part. They're not usually like the main focus of a story.
Yeah, they very much do feel like well, if you're thinking like video games, you're going out, you're adventuring, and then you get to like the safe hub to upgrade your gear, and it's the Artificer that's going to be upgrading your gear. And so you get that guy in your adventuring party.
Yeah, you just need to, you know what, maybe just drag him along on a mission, you know, get him a name brand access, you know, come on, sponsorship opportunity.
Something I really like about kind of playing that role though is the opportunity to be creative with what you can invent. Like in one of the games I'd played in, I invented a blowtorch, so that became very useful very quickly. But yeah, if like the party just has like an idea, I can be like, oh, all right, let's workshop that. We could probably make it.
Yeah, give me a couple hours and let me go buy some materials and see what I can do.
Yeah, it's so much fun to be able to just create.
Yeah, like slight spoilers, I actually have some ideas for some items I want to create for the party I have. And yeah, one of them is for Laura's character, and she doesn't know anything about it. It's going to be great.
Oh, I feel like I've already got an idea of what that might be, but
has she told you about her character?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I know about her character, but I think I have an inkling of what you might be inventing for her. But we'll see that come out in your guys' game. The last couple I'm going to throw out here real quick for pop culture. Lex Luthor, of course, very much on the same level as Iron Man, and the Sato family, Hiroshi and Asami from Avatar: Legend of Korra.
Oh, I never would have thought of them.
I mean, they fit in so well because, from the jump from the first season of Avatar to the second, it's very much changes in its genre. We go into technological steampunk futurist, and that family is like up there as top inventors.
Yeah, they're the name.
Yep. They invented cars. They invented shock gloves. Like, who needs shock gloves?
Better airplanes than the ones they had in the first one.
Mechanized humanoid tanks.
Oh, that's right. Like those are sick.
Yeah.
I want to build one of those now. All right.
Oh,
Making a list.
Have fun, Dutch. So let's go through all the features that artificers are going to have in common. Unlike the previous episodes where we've been going over classes, I don't actually have to say we're going to ignore the material in Tashes because it's all Tashes.
Perfect. Love Tashes.
Yeah. But if you want to be an effective artificer, also, do you say artificer or artificer?
I like artificer.
Yeah, okay, I'm on the same boat.
Because artificer just sounds kind of like you're just dismissing it. I don't know.
But yeah, so the an effective artificer should have intelligence as their highest ability score. So at first level, an artificer is going to get magical tinkering and their spellcasting ability, and the class is a half caster.
Yeah, magical tinkering. I could see a lot of really fun creative things for that. Like you could just make like a little, I don't know, you could even make like a little shopkeeper that just sells his little trinkets, a silver for a little toy for a kid. I don't know. I don't know how money works in D&D. I'm terrible. Like I still have no concept of it after playing through a whole campaign. We always just threw money around wherever we thought we needed it.
Yeah, currency is definitely an issue that can kind of get swept under the rug after a while. But I found magical tinkering when I was playing an artificer was very underwhelming, but that was probably due to my own creativity until the very end of the campaign.
Interesting. I wouldn't think it would be used much at the end.
Well,
what did you do?
So what happened? So, I mean, I should probably mention what magical tinkering is. So you can use thieves' tools or artisan tools. I guess any artisan's tools will work.
So, yeah.
And you can make an item essentially glow like a candle. An item can hold a short recorded message, can emit an odor or a nonverbal sound, or you can leave a static visual effect on it. It'll last indefinitely and can be cast on a multitude of items equal to your intelligence modifier. And so, yeah, like I didn't use this a whole lot. Like there were occasions where I needed a light source, so I'd flavor, like I'd touch an object I've made and it would glow. But the end of the campaign that I was an artificer, I was 10 levels artificer, 10 levels fighter. And I ended up sacrificing myself, but I knew I was going to do that. So what I did was I left behind a lot of my significant items on our pirate ship, and I put a message into each of the 5 items I had. And so once they got back to the ship and they interacted with those items, I revealed a lot of my backstory to them that I hadn't shared with them up to that point.
That's incredible.
It was astounding. I was so happy I had that opportunity.
Yeah, that's so smart.
Yeah, and then they put those items into a museum afterward, and it was such a touching moment.
They give you a little statue too?
Oh, damn it, they did not.
Oh, bastards.
What a waste.
I know. Terrible. Didn't make a statue.
And going back to what you were talking about before, your spellcasting, instead of using a spellcasting focus, you need to either have thieves' tools or a set of artisans' tools to cast spells that require a material component. That is awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool because it allows you to kind of like, you could use calligrapher supplies. I think that's what they're called. Whatever they're called.
I believe so.
Calligrapher something. But you could like just draw like runes in the air or something, or, be creative with it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Or like if you end up going the alchemist route and you have alchemist supplies, like cure wounds, just you get out this little tub of salve and just administer the ointment.
Take a butter knife and just rub it all over them.
You're oily but alive. Or because I'd played a gunslinger alchemist artificer, I would just like load in like vials, like vial darts, essentially just shoot my allies.
Oh, that's so much cooler than the idea I have. Oh, I'm so sad now.
Oh,
I should have thought of that. It's fine. No, I do like that they get a weapons proficiency in firearms, which is really cool. If you just want to, throw that in for some fun.
It's great. I'm glad they get that. Anything more to add on this?
Just that you can make the little little decoys with your magical tinkering and like send them out to distract guards. That was like the one thing I think I'll probably end up using a lot, especially early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like, I don't know, throw something out that makes a bird noise, like easy.
I think you can actually make one that like walks like 10 feet away or something like that. You can make like a little mouse or something like that. Freak out some guards or something.
Heck yeah, just draw them away with vision. Yeah, this You're primed to be a stealth character, so hopefully you invest a little bit in dexterity as well.
No. Spoiler alert, no.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
At second level, you get the ability to infuse items, and I think this is where a lot of the bread and butter of this class comes in.
I think this is where you can really shine as an artificer, because you have so much you can go into with the infusions. I am still looking at infusions wondering, do I want this when I, because I think we're starting at level 2 at the beginning of the campaign, so I'll just have gotten it like session 0 or whatever, and I still have no idea what I'm choosing with my infusions. There's just so many.
Yeah, I think because like a lot of the things you can do with infusing items, essentially you get to imbue items with magical abilities, and you get 4 of these infusions at second level.
Mm-hmm. And you can have 2 active at a time, I think. And then that levels up as well.
So I believe how it works is you can like infuse a certain number of items per long rest, but you can have all 4 active.
I think you can only have 2 active at a time, from what I remember. Let me look. Yes, you have infusions known and then infused items. So you have 4 infusions known at level 2, and then 2 items that can actually be infused, and then it gets rid of whichever the earliest one you infused.
I think this was a point of confusion in my campaign as well. Hold on here. Let's get these rules here.
Okay, yeah, I just pulled up the table. So you have 4 infusions known and then 2 infused items at level 2. That's what it looks like.
So you can infuse more than 1 non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appears in the infused items column.
Yep.
But once you infuse an item, it becomes indefinite. So what that means is the next day you can infuse 2 more items up to your maximum of 4.
Well, no, because your item, it disappears off of it when you do the newest one. You can only have so many active at a time.
I see what you mean. Like the single effect of 1 infusion.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying? Okay.
I think so.
I will admit, this is perhaps the class I have the least specific knowledge on.
Okay.
And there is still confusion for me on this one.
Yeah, so like if you had, because you can replicate a magic item from one of your infusions, if you replicate a bag of holding and a smoldering helm, but then you also have the one that gives you like a +1 to your damage, and you give that to a fighter, whichever, like if your bag of holding was the first one you made, your bag of holding will stop being a bag of holding as you make that second one, because you can only have 2 items that are infused at a time. Yeah, it's a little rough. It's a little rough because you have to like really kind of watch what you're infusing when.
All right, I'm going to pause the episode here and I'm going to read this real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So after skimming this through.
It's a little convoluted.
Yeah, it is a...
they did not write this very common...
It is written like an artificer.
Yes, very much so.
Much more smart than I am. So just going over this, and hopefully I don't get like caught for reading this, but anyway, you can infuse more than 1 non-magical object at the end of a long rest. The maximum number of objects appears in the infused items column of the Artificer table. So that means 2. The infusions I need to see up here. Gain the ability to imbue When you gain this feature, pick 4 Artificer infusions to learn. Then additional fusions. Whenever you gain a level in this class.
Oh, I know why it's so convoluted, because it's not specifying whether it's your infused items that it like is going, because it'll say each infusion, if your infusion ends on an item that contains a thing. No, where is it? Oh, it can if you try to exceed the maximum number of infusions. It doesn't say whether that's your infusions known or your infused items. I just always took it as the infused items. That way you can only actually have the 2 at a time.
Right. So you have these 4 possible effects.
Yeah.
And then you take 2 items and apply 2 of the 4 possible effects.
Yes.
Okay, we've figured this out. So infused items means these are the number of items you can have affected, and then you have the possible infusions. Yeah. And that probably means that you're going to create items with the... It's almost like they're suggesting that you take the create magic items infusion.
There's some really good ones in there, yeah. Like bag of holding you can get at second level. Having a bag of holding at second level is huge.
Yeah, and I'm now going to look at, good God, this class is so hefty. Where are you? Replicate magic item. I don't know if the replicate magic item counts against the items infused, because it's creating a whole new item. So I don't know. I think that would be up to the DM's discretion.
All right. Well, maybe I can convince Dutch to let me have 4 infused items at level 2.
Yeah, because I feel like every single game I've played in, that's kind of been how it's been, but that might be incorrect. So, well, here we go.
I don't know.
But, so
But
yeah.
it's a DM discretion.
Yep, you're going to have fun with that. In any case, let's move on to level 3. So at 3rd level, you get your Artificer Specialist, which is your subclass choice. And there are 4 options because this was only introduced very recently with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And your choices are the Alchemist, which pretty self-explanatory, the Armorer, which is that very much Iron Man inspired subclass, the Artillerist, which is more based on being a ranged attacker, and the Battlesmith, which is that get in there and beat things up.
It's almost like a better ranger. Not gonna lie. Throwing it out there.
Yeah, and then you gain subclass features at 5th, 9th, and 15th levels. But beyond the subclass, you also get another feature called the right tool for the job. There's not a whole lot of power in this ability, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's, cool. If you really badly need like Poisoner's Kit or something that you just don't have, you have one now.
Yeah, because you can create any set of Artisan's tools or a single set of tools as long as you have Artisan's tools or Thieves' tools over the period of a short rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're in need, just take a break.
Yeah.
And it's nice too, because like if you only get certain things to start with in the game, so like say you take a specific set of Artisan's tools and then eventually you're like, oh, I know we're going to be breaking into things, so let's make a set of Thieves' tools so I'm just ready for it.
Oh yeah, and or if you have like proficiencies in multiple tools, which most artificers will probably have, you'll probably have like 2 or 3 proficiencies, especially if you use Tasha's rules to mix and match proficiencies and stuff. You just may not have those starting out, depending on what you and your DM decide would be, hey, you probably have this starting out or you don't. 3rd level, you can just kind of make the one you don't have if you haven't been able to buy it yet.
Absolutely. At 6th level, you gain Tool Expertise, which is so good. So you get expertise on ability checks that use a tool you're proficient with. Essentially, it doubles your proficiency bonus on those checks.
Which is awesome. I mean, now it's everything you create gets a little easier to make at least.
This class snowballs. Like you get
snowballs a lot.
You get so skilled at the things you're good at. 7th level brings us Flash of Genius, which is a great reaction. Mm-hmm. You can use your reaction to add an intelligence modifier to your intelligence modifier to an ability check or saving throw on either yourself or a creature within 30 feet.
That's huge. Because if you have 4 or 5 intelligence, adding that to a saving throw, nick of time. Oh,
yeah, and it's such great flavor too, because it's kind of like you're in the moment, and say an ally nearby is like going to get hit by a fireball, and you're just like, to the left. And you just like call out like tactics, or
you should coach your team,
Yeah, or it's just like you got a water skin of water, throw that in the air now.
Yeah,
like you can. Well, I mean, depending on. Yeah, or just duck. That's a flash of genius.
Yeah.
And moving forward in this class, it's very much based on, like, a lot of these have to do with your attunement to magic items. So 10th level, you got Magic Item Adept, and you can now attune to 4 magic items instead of 3. And you can craft magic items of common or uncommon rarity more quickly and cheaply. And you can find the original rules for that in the Dungeon Master's Guide on page 128.
Which is huge, because there's some crazy uncommon items that are great to have.
I mean, even just like a bag of holding for every party member.
That you don't have to use that as an infusion anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can just make them. Or the, what's it called? Why am I really blanking? The rod that you can't, unmovable rod.
Yep.
Could not think of it for a second.
And there's a lot of fun common items as well. I don't remember what the specific name of it is, but there's this clock that I believe you can use once per short or long rest, and I believe you could just take 10 on a roll.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't remember what the name of it is, but I made it for one of my party mates, And I don't think they like ever used it because they were a rogue and did not need it.
Oh yeah, they already get plus 10 to start, whatever. Once they get the one of the class features gives them like a 10 on anything they're proficient in. So
yeah,
gross, anyways.
Do you want to take one of these?
Sure. I mean, 11th level spell storing item. It's an amazing ability. You can store a spell in an object. Every time you finish a long rest, you can take a simple or martial weapon or one item you use as spellcasting focus and store a spell in it, choosing a first or second level spell from the Artificer spell list. And just requires one action to cast. That's huge.
Yeah. If you don't have a healer in the party, just here, take this sword. It'll actually cure wounds you like 4 times.
Second level cure wounds. That's awesome. And you can use it. Is it proficiency? Use number of times equal to your twice your intelligence modifier. Why is that so strong?
You don't need the spell slot. It doesn't say anything about. Well, I mean, I don't know if it actually needs the. I imagine you do need the components for it because I believe the rules of using magic items with spells does require it just for magic items in general, and I think this would count for that. But again, DM discretion.
It doesn't say anything about using, like already have it. It doesn't say anything about it, like the spell using it. So I would imagine you'd have to have them, yeah. Mm-hmm. But even still, I mean, just having a cure wounds that you can use 10 times a day,
yeah,
that's insane.
And there's a lot of fun first and second level spells that the Artificer gets that you could just throw into an item. Like, say you don't want to cure wounds, perhaps instead. Well, I mean, if we're going the healing route, still healing word.
True. I don't think that's an Artificer spell list.
I might be thinking of the Alchemist specifically.
The Alchemist.
I sure am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't remember that being in my spell list. I'm sad.
That would be why. Yeah. My bad.
Debated. No, I mean that's good to notice though. If you want to play an Alchemist, healing word, that's awesome, and it's a bonus action which some classes can't really use. So now they have a free heal every turn.
Gosh, now I'm like running through these spells in my head and I'm like, oh my god, I think a lot of the ones I'm thinking of are Alchemist specific.
I was gonna say Revivify, but that's a 3rd level, so unfortunate. But I mean, even just Grease,
web,
slow someone down.
Spider climb.
Give it to your fighter or barbarian. Spider climbing barbarian. Oh no. Beholders beware.
Not get away from me. Oh boy. Yeah, plenty of good first and second level spell options. 14 level, Magic Item Savant, another one of these gain an additional attunement slot. So you're up to 5.
Which is so huge. I mean, just being able to have another attuned item. I mean, especially if your DM's like really nice about giving you magic items.
Yeah.
You can become gross. Like you don't even need a subclass at this point. You can just play the main Artificer and just win D&D.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing this feature gives you is you can ignore all class, race, spell, and level requirements of magic items. This doesn't really come up too often, but I mean, if in the event that it does, ignore it.
Yeah, if you want to make a big sword swing Artificer, now you can take that paladin sword and use it for yourself.
18th level is much less majestic, very basic. Magic Item Master. You can now attune up to 6 magic items. And would you like to give us the last 20th level?
Absolutely. It's the Soul of the Artifice. You develop a mystical connection to your magic items, which you can draw on for protection. You get a +1 to all saving throws per magic item you're currently attuned to. And if you're reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, you can use your reaction to end one of your infusions, Artificer infusions, causing you to drop to 1 hit point instead of 0. Oh my gosh.
Wow. It's
+6 to all saving throws.
Yep. Oh, you better be getting into some big fights. That DM's going to want to beat you down real fast.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, if you make it 20th level, I mean, the Artificer, you deserve it, I guess. That's what Wizards of the Coast thought.
Yeah, I could just imagine like an Artificer fighting a god, and the god's just like, lose your headband of intellect, lose your boots of spider climbing, lose your bag of holding.
And he just keeps getting back up.
Yeah.
It's another Sunday.
Just suddenly surrounded by all this treasure because the bag of holding's broken. Well, that's all the features that Artificers are going to get through their journey from 1st to 20th level. So at this point, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a bit more about the roleplay aspects of Artificer characters. Hi there. Do you have a podcast you'd like to promote? How about sponsoring an episode of the Speak Dicely podcast? If you'd like to get in touch with me about including an ad during one of our episodes, contact Denny at dicelychannel@gmail.com. Now, back to the podcast. Hi there, folks. Welcome back. So I am here with Socoler, and I almost messed up your name again. Gosh, dang it. I was so proud in the intro. And we're going to be talking about the roleplay side of Artificer characters. So I'm actually going to change up the order of my questions here. Tell us a bit about an Artificer character. Well, I guess the one you're in the process of it, or how much you want to share.
Yeah, well, I can share one that I've done before. I played a 5th level one just as like a little one shot with some friends. And it was a battlesmith, which I had a lot of fun, and I would definitely consider making another Artificer to try out the battlesmith or even the artillerist. I mean, if you want like just a blasting character, the artillerist does damage. Like, it's insane. But my battlesmith Artificer just kind of, I played him more as a ranger because at the time I was just like still kind of on the fence about ranger, even though it had gotten buffed by Tasha's. And it was kind of cool to kind of have like this almost AI companion if you really wanted it to be. And I had a nice DM who was like, yeah, we can make it, have a little voice and its own thoughts and stuff like that. It was just really cool to have, your little buddy, and then as well as the rest of your party with you.
I've talked about Theodore Ray on this channel before, and this is the gunslinger Artificer I've been alluding to this entire conversation. So I'll talk about the other Artificer I played. Also an alchemist. They were this ASMR. Oh dear, I guess it was the Scourge ASMR, the one that instead of having the wings does like the area explosion of radiant damage.
Oh yeah, that one's sick.
And but this was like a really stupid short campaign. Like, what I only played this guy because my ranger died, so I had to make a new character. And this was set in a university, and so my character was a student, and they got killed. So I created the investigator who was coming in to figure out why students were dying at the university. And I was very inspired by like Peter Griffin for this guy. And so he had this like really dumb voice, and he was just this big fat ASMR that was always wearing a mask. And it was just so much fun. And eventually we ended up progressing in the campaign, and a vampire was behind everything. And I got to use that ASMR ability, and I flavored it like he went Super Saiyan. Like, he got real buff and slim and like not out of shape anymore. And I changed his voice.
It's incredible.
It was a lot of fun. Like, I didn't really explore the Artificer side of him that much, other than being like, here, I'll wipe you in salve and you'll be fine. But it was a really fun character to explore.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, who knew?
Yeah. The other character probably explored that Artificer side a bit more. I had like invented a lot of items to kind of, because I was a bad Artificer. I was better fighter, terrible Artificer. So eventually I invented a headband of intellect, because I was like, my intelligence is 13. I'm terrible at this. Let's up me so I can be better. I had a cloak of the manta ray. I eventually came across some wings of flying, so I was like master of land and sea and sky. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. And just,
yeah, that's so perfect.
Yeah, just wrapping myself in all kinds of inventions.
Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited for this upcoming campaign, because I don't want to spoil too much about my new character, but I'm just really excited to be able to like turn my spells into something mechanical, or something with a little more of that like sci-fi sort of film on it, which is something that I kind of took a lot of that kind of stuff for granted, more so with a lot of other classes. With Artificer, it's just like you have so much you can do with it. Like you're saying with like the solve for cure wounds, or I think that you get like that Tasha's toxic spray or something like that shoots like a line of acid.
Oh, yeah.
You could have it be like a little shoulder cannon that pops up out of your armor or something,
Absolutely.
All kinds of little things.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the fact that this came out with Tasha's means that normally I throw in things about the Xanathar's Guide suggesting things, but we don't have that this time. So
Yeah.
some ideas I'm going to put forward is like, if you want to make an interesting artificer character, think about the tools that you work with. What is your main set of tools? Like, are you working woodworkers? Are you using smith's tools, glass blowers? And then flavor your spells and your inventions based off of your main type of tools. Like, if you're a glass blower and all your inventions are made of like blown glass, that's so cool.
Dude, seeing blown glass made in is just incredible. But yeah, like, or your calligrapher supplies, you're drawing, little signs in the air. Like if you want to do a fire spell, you're drawing like a thing of fire shooting at someone or whatnot.
Yeah, and then the ones I pitched there, like the woodworkers, smiths, glassblowers, like those have an inherent material attached to them. Like your inventions are probably wooden, or they're metal, or they're stone if you're going like mason's tools. I like the calligraphy one because it's like, well, what do? You're probably not going to whip out a piece of paper, so just runes in the air. This is magic.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of those are like the ones that people don't really pick ever in a campaign because, let's be real, there's not a ton of application for a lot of those. But, with the Artificer, you can make any tool usable, really.
Or this example has come up in a previous episode, but you could have like inked on like small pieces of paper beforehand, and like you whip them out like cards, and basically you're a Yu-Gi-Oh artificer.
Oh my gosh, or you could be Gambit.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, another missed opportunity. Dang. Getting so sad about all these ideas I could have done.
Oh no, we should have done this episode sooner.
I'll make Gambit someday, guys. Don't worry, it'll happen.
Another thing I would suggest is consider an invention. Do you have an invention you're proud of? What do you intend to do with it? Or are you in the process of making your piece, your masterpiece? Are you in the adventuring? Are you in... Oh dear, I'm wording this very poorly. Are you adventuring to complete this invention?
Ooh, or are you adventuring to commit corporate espionage on your competition?
Ooh, a rival.
Maybe that's your goal is, this guy stole your invention. He made thousands upon thousands of gold from it. And now you want to get back at him. So you got to try and like figure out how to steal his inventions and make your own to help you steal his invention. Yeah. And I suppose another thing could be like, what is your goal with inventing? Like, you've got like Iron Man, who is like, I'm making weapons because I don't particularly care. War is profitable. Or are you trying to help people? Are you a bit more selfish? Are you just trying to make funny things? Yeah. Maybe just make a gun that shoots chickens.
Or you're you're the owner of a prank store and you just make like joy buzzers and hilarious, like I don't know, those like cans with exploding snakes in them.
Those are the best. Oh, that reminds me of Hook, where like the action, I don't remember how to describe it, the good one, but where like the Lost Boys make all those like dumb little inventions, and one of them they literally just shoot eggs at the pirates.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the one with Robin Williams, right?
Yes. Yeah. The good one.
That was a great movie.
The only correct answer.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas of how people might create interesting artificers?
I think relying on the flavor of the class is always a good idea, in my opinion. Like, obviously, you can always, go for a min-max sort of artificer, but you can also add the flavor to it. Maybe you are making your own little like funny inventions and guns or they don't have to necessarily be guns, but different tools that just do funny things, but also do damage for your party. Like maybe you make the barbarian squeaky hammer that hurts people. It could be a fun little time. All the enemies would be very confused why they keep getting squeaking noises when they get hit.
I suppose another thing that you could add is like, how did you learn this craft? Like, was it something that you just were always a protege and like you just started making things when you were young, or did you go somewhere to study, or were you part of a guild? Like, yeah, where did you get your talent for this kind of thing? And then I guess there's also the question of, how does the magic come into it?
Yeah, see, that's something I've delved on a little less personally, just because I'm like, I kind of like the idea of no magic. But yeah, I mean, the magic could come from, hey, maybe you've seen or grew up around wizards that kind of, they do all the studying to get their stuff. Maybe you just, take a little smidge here and a smidge there and kind of just like toss it in to make your inventions just, that's why your inventions actually work compared to some other things that people have tried to create, because that extra magic just makes it that much fuller. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, I suppose a way to also think about it is like consider the other magic casting classes. Like if you're a bard, for example, your inventions are very mundane, but you have like words or a specific like song, or maybe it's like if we're going science, it's a specific resonance that you're able to recreate that actually brings life and magic to these inventions.
Ooh.
Or if you go like sorcerer flavor, it's just a spark within you that's just like, once this is created, I just like touch it and it comes to life or does whatever I need it to do.
Maybe that's how you created your battlesmiths part. I don't want to call it pecs. I feel like it's more than that. But, it's just that extra magic of you just getting so frustrated that now it's alive because you willed it to be alive.
Yeah, maybe that means it's like part of you in a way.
Yeah.
And that could be true for the armor as well. Maybe that's a suit of armor that will only work on you.
I mean, it can't be removed when you're an armorer once because of the arcane armor. So, I mean, or maybe you got the arcane armor because you lost or were like a burn victim or something and you use the armor to hide that,
Ooh, another one, like thinking of being inspired by warlocks where they have a patron. Maybe your items, like you can make them anywhere, but you eventually have to bring them back to the guild hall that you're a pact member of, and then you have to like cook them in the forge that's special within that guild hall, and then after you get them out, they're ready to be used properly.
Oh, so you don't actually create the magic. This item that you have wherever your base is or whatnot actually is what creates it and makes it work.
Or maybe so you're not so tied geographically to a spot, they give you like a small version of this forge. I don't know.
Yeah, like a little kiln or something,
But that
you carry it in your bag of holding.
But you're the only one out of your party that has the training to use it properly. So,
yeah, you can watch your barbarian break it. 2 episodes in. So.
Perfect. They will try it, I'm sure. That's really cool. I hadn't considered that kind of stuff before, so that's really neat. I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah, this is giving me a lot to think about, actually.
Oh, great.
I have to make so many changes. No, but I was done.
So why should people play an Artificer? And do you have any critiques about the class?
I think their spell list could use a little bit more. Some of the spells I don't think quite hit the Artificer spell list that well. And I think that they are very hit or miss. Like there's like some really standout spells, and then there's a lot of spells that are just kind of like, yeah, maybe I'll take it just to have like a niche spell for the day, but it's not gonna be on my main spell list. I was kind of hoping they'd come out with like just some like Artificer only spells, give the class some of its own. But I guess it is a pretty strong class already, so it doesn't really need that. But overall, I mean, I think it's my favorite class in D&D now, personally.
Wow. That's that. I was not expecting that coming into this.
Well, I see it as you can really fill every role perfectly to a T. You can be a tank. You can be the main DPS. You can be the supporting ranger. You can heal. I mean, obviously not to the extent of a cleric. I guess maybe you can't be a main healer, but you can do everything else.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's a half caster class, like I don't expect them to be able to use those like really powerful spells, but I'm just like, anytime I'm playing a half caster class, I'm like, I want those higher, at least like the 5th level spells sooner. But
yeah,
that's the way.
I got held at 8th level spells our last campaign, so I'm kind of like, I just want the 9th level. I just want to taste that 9th level spell, but it won't be this campaign either. It's fine.
It sounds like Dutch will just have to do a 20th level special one-off.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, bring back the old crew.
That's the hope.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of playing the class, I recommend it because like it's some great flavor. It's a great opportunity if you're like just wanting to play a class that creates themselves, and you can be so useful with your imagination.
Yeah, I mean, the class is literally limited by your imagination. And I guess slightly by your DM if they're very picky on what they let you build. But I'm sure most DMs, like if you really get into it, they're gonna be all for it because they want you to just you can kind of just take over for them, and then they don't actually have to invent things. Maybe you bring up the idea of it, and then they just add that into their world somewhere because they're like, oh, this is actually a really cool idea. I want this in my world now. And then you just made part of their world.
Yeah, I like one of the inventions I'd made, like I think it was like a backpack mounted, or no, I think I eventually did size it down to like a wrist mounted, but I invented like wrist mounted grappling hooks that you could like launch up and like give you a little bit of help with athletics checks while climbing.
I'm adding that to my list of things I want to build now. I've already started a list. It's too long. I'll never make them all, but
oh man,
I will try.
I think one of the best inventions my character did was one of our other players was planning on proposing to an NPC, so I just made their ring.
That's sweet.
It was very nice, and I'm glad they came to me just because.
Oh my gosh, you could even have them like help you make it, so then it's even like more special at that point. Yeah, that's a great little RPC in there.
It was superb. But yeah, so on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rank Artificers?
I'm at a 5. I mean, they just have so much going for them, and I think the only real drawback that I can think of now that I've given a little more thought is that it might be a little tough for newer players, just because there is a lot of rules and stuff around their things. So you have to be very careful about that. But other than that, I mean, they're a 5 out of 5.
Nice. I would probably go with a. Oh gosh, I'm hovering between a 3 and a 4 here, but yeah. I think I need to try not an alchemist and get more of the overall experience with this class. But as a healer, I enjoyed being the support artificer. And it just feels cool to like hand off magic items to players and be like, I'm helping you be better. Or you can go the other way and be like, I am awesome.
I have all the items.
Yeah, there are the 2 ways you can go with it. You know what? I'll say 4. I recommend the class.
Oh, man. I just want to play Artificer now. That's what I want to do.
Well, thank you, Soko, for coming on to this episode and talking about Artificers. Unfortunately, we're actually going to be skipping the game segment for today's session, so I hope that's all right. But we're going to move on still to Question Dicely. This is our chance to hear from the listeners. And today's question was submitted by a friend of the podcast, Matt Costin. For the listeners out there, check out his site. It's now up and running, groupchatgames.ca. You can go there if you're looking for these. He's got online murder mystery parties and some not murder. But he's figured out how to host parties over Discord and just have like a mystery party, and it's so much fun. Like, go check him out. And if you don't want to run these things yourself, you can also hire him to run the game for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the question he has posed for us today is, I want to play as Spider-Man in D&D. How should I go about it? What class or classes should I use? And I imagine we can also talk about magic items as well.
I have some ideas already.
Perfect. What do we got?
Okay, so I think you got to start monk. Right, you got to have some levels of monk in there, just because Spider-Man's all fists and all that. You got to be hitting people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then for his webs, you either have to get like boots of spider climb so you can actually climb up objects.
Yep.
Or maybe you take a couple levels in wizard, because then that gives you a little more flavor around there with the wizard spells you can choose to get some of his other abilities as well.
Mm-hmm. And then you can either through the wizard cast web or obtain a wand of web.
Oh, I forgot about wand of web. That's true too.
Yep. Just go.
I'm trying to think. What else does Spider-Man have?
Just go pure monk and just be based on magical items for the spidery elements.
Yeah, that would actually be really cool. Though, I mean, especially if your D&D was cooperative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could probably just make a pure monk at that point, and you'd probably take way of the open fist.
Yeah,
I guess.
I think that makes sense because he hits hard. I think. Does every monk have the ability to heal themselves at some point, or is it just that one?
I think it's just that. Can that monk heal itself? I thought the only way that could heal was the Way of Mercy, right?
Oh heck! The good thing this isn't the episode about monks, because I'm
a little off on that one. Haven't ever actually played a monk, or not extensively, anyways.
Yeah, I'm the same boat. I've only played one monk, and it's one of like the Tasha's newer ones. Wholeness of body.
Mine died at like 4th level, so
You get wholeness of body with the open hand. As an action, you regain hit points equal to 3 times your monk level at 6th level.
okay. Wait, the open hand gets that?
Yep.
I didn't even. That's awesome.
Yep. So just take an action, gain 18 hit points until you.
Maybe that's like his super straight sort of like constitution that superheroes have, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I keep seeing him get beat up and still keep going. It's like he's got to be able to come back somehow.
Maybe 2 levels in fighter to get second wind and action surge as well.
Yeah.
Not a bad 2-level dip to just get some extra stuff to throw in there.
And they just came out with like a grappler fighter style, didn't they?
Oh, yes.
Would that work for the fighting style, or should it be like ranged?
Well, I think if you want it to be ranged, I don't think it works for spells, does it?
No, it definitely does not.
If it doesn't work for spells, then I would say you're probably better off with the grappler, I would imagine. Or maybe the defense.
Oh, true, yeah. Just have
Either
extra
way.
AC. Oh, he's dodgy. Yeah. Wear some armor.
Yeah.
You get extra AC.
Yeah, I mean, with a monk, I mean, you're already going to have great AC
Oh,
from
crap,
your
but
Dex and Wisdom.
You don't want to wear armor with a monk. Ah, crud.
Yeah. Well, in that case, defense might be better.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to rely on it.
Well, I don't know. What more can we add to Spider-Man?
I'm trying to think of like the only thing I can think we're not hitting is being able to swing on webs, and I'm not sure there's anything like that in D&D. I don't even know any magic items at the top of my head that aren't like completely homebrew.
We would have to get rid of the boots of spider climbing and rely a bit on the wizard, but you could wear instead boots of springing and jumping, I think they're called.
That's true. And then maybe just flavor text, you shoot out webs to actually do your springing and jumping.
Yeah.
That could work, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I there is definitely some stretches we have to go through to make this work, but
or maybe you work with your DM to get you something. Maybe you get like a little like bracelet that shoots out webs for you, and it just looks like it comes out of your hand.
Yeah. There. Have you ever played any of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video games?
Like the old ones, the new.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Or like Avengers one.
No, not the Avengers one. Like the Xbox era.
Oh yeah, like PS2 and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, I did play 1 or 2 of them. I don't remember which ones exactly though.
The ones where Spider-Man's in, like you can do the web shooting, but of course he's always like 5 feet above the ground because you can't really go beyond the screen. So yeah. I'm just imagining something like that happening.
Yeah, no, I mean that'd be sweet. Actually playing Spider-Man in D&D.
And a monk I think works really well for Spider-Man 2 because their wisdom is high and he has that spider sense.
Yeah, he's got he got that street knowledge.
Maybe this would be so stupid, but 2 levels into Barbarian just to get danger sense. Ignore everything else about Barbarian, just that danger sense at level 2.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to ignore rage, right? Because I don't remember Spider-Man ever really getting mad.
No, not unless we're going like the Venom Spider-Man.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
Then you could add some really fun stuff. If only you could get access to, is it Grasping Vine? At like the 4th level druid spell or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
For Venom's like tongue when he wraps around people.
Oh, you could just do Thorn Whip, the cantrip.
Oh, that's true too, yeah. I always forgot there's a cantrip for that, huh?
Oh, yeah, right. Spider-Man could technically do that too. Just with the web and bring him in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go. Another little like level dip into something for it.
Holy crap, we're getting crazy with this multi-class now. Like Barbarian, Druid, Wizard, Monk. He's got to have like all of the ability scores above 13. But as a superhero,
he's gonna have to. I don't know how you're gonna do your stats. That's gonna be a little rough to get through.
Hey DM, I rolled perfect 18s on everything.
I mean, hey, that 1 in a million chance,
Oh heck. Anything more to add to Spider-Man?
I think that's all I got for Spider-Man.
Okay.
I think we covered all of his main stuff.
So we've decided on majority monk, a wand of web, wizard class, so you get 2nd level spells, so you can cast web and spider climb. You have to acquire boots of springing and jumping, 2 levels into barbarian for danger sense, and if you can somehow get Thorn Whip, you're pretty set.
One dip. Wait, do wizards might have access to Thorn Whip?
Maybe. I get the sense it might be a druid spell though.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's one you just have to kind of look into, huh?
Unless unless we forego Wizard and Warlock provides us with the same opportunities, and then go Tome Warlock, but then you've got a book which is
there could be some
done.
Eldritch Invocations that get you there too.
Oh, fair.
I think. But yeah, there's so much.
But okay, so if we ignore Thornwhip, what we've built here might be good. Go into one level of Druid if needed for that Thornwhip.
Yeah.
Craziness. All right. Well, Matt, hopefully this homebrew we've created for you that can only be obtained by getting to like probably level 10 will serve your needs. Well, thank you for joining me on this episode about Artificers and building Spider-Man.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, building Spider-Man might be the highlight.
Yeah. Folks, you better have stuck around for this because you want to play Spider-Man in your games. This is it. And
Mario's next.
We're coming for you, Mario. Barbarian, maybe? No.
Monk? The way of the one that shoots fireballs.
Yeah.
Sunsoul. There you go.
Oh, wow. Well, we'll bring that back up when we get to monks. So it's at this point that we're going to be wrapping up today's episode of the podcast. So I'd like to give Soko the chance to plug any projects he's working on and your social media. Where can people keep up with you?
Well, you can find me on twitch.tv/Socoler. I stream random days of the week, depending on my work schedule, or on Twitter at Socoler_. And I'm also part of another D&D campaign on Twitch, Dungeon Select. We both have Twitch and YouTube channels. Both are Dungeon Select. And we're starting a campaign too, I think, towards the end of summer, like late July, early August sometime, I think. So look out for that.
Head on over to Twitch, give them a follow, and be prepared to follow them on their new D&D adventure. And if you'd like to keep up with Speak Dicely, follow our social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch as Dicely DnD. And if you'd like to submit a question for the podcast, send an email with your question to dicelychannel@gmail.com. Thank you again, Soka, for joining me on the show, but that's about all the time we've got for this episode of the Speak Dicely podcast. So, thank you all for tuning in. My name is Denny, and I will speak Dicely again with you soon. This episode of the Speak Dicely podcast was edited by Ryan Worthing and produced by Teni Brant. The intro and outro music were created by Salik Brant. Thank you for the support, and we'll see you next time on the Speak Dicely podcast.